Whole pigs have been cooked over live coals for nearly 3.5 centuries in eastern North Carolina, while pork shoulders have been pit cooked for at least a couple of hundred years in the Piedmont and western foothills, although not so much in the mountains. Vinegar sauce got started in the east long before tomatoes were considered safe to eat, but by the time Piedmont barbecue became big time, folks had started adding tomato paste and sugar to the original vinegar sauce recipe. For nearly a century, the only major developments were the growing use of gas or electric pits at some restaurants. Now, though, other changes are in the wind. One way to explain is to begin with a place that has changed very little. Stamey's in Greensboro traces its origins to 1930 and to founder Warner Stamey's first restaurant in Lexington. Stamey's pork shoulders are still cooked the same way they were then.
Well, I think it's very important to keep the past alive, and I think that the old ways are the best ways. And we've experimented in times with the ways other people are doing it, just to see what it was like, and the product's not the same. So we're going to keep doing it as long as we can.
Nearly all the restaurants cooking over live coals have been around for years, but there are newer places utterly devoted to continuing the legacy of pit cooking barbecue the old-fashioned way. Hillsboro Barbecue Company, for example, went to a lot of trouble to build old-style wood-burning pits on which to slow-roast Boston butts cut from the pork shoulder.
To me, it's the only way to have real North Carolina barbecue is cooked with wood. It just doesn't compare to the pork that comes out of smokers and electric grills. So honestly, if the county wouldn't have let us do it, we wouldn't have had a restaurant, if it was either this way or no way in our mind.
But while its barbecue pits are traditional, Hillsboro Barbecue Company took the unusual step of adding a bar and expanding into barbecue styles heretofore more popular in other regions, like beef brisket, pit-cooked ribs, barbecued chicken, and even turkey.
We thought that having alcohol was important. We thought that folks, we wanted to create a date atmosphere or a later evening than what typical barbecue restaurants are. So we thought having a liquor license was important, just so you can enjoy a draft beer with a barbecue sandwich. And then we also thought that people nowadays expect more variety in their meat, so that's why we have brisket, chicken, ribs, and turkey. We thought, we'd also get in a small town like this, we might get them out more than once a week if we have more than one meat.
The Pit Authentic Barbecue in Raleigh is another newer restaurant that is unalterably committed to the old school of barbecue cooking. In its case, Eastern-style whole pasture-raised pigs pit-cooked for long hours over live coals.
The tradition here at the Pit's the same as it's been in North Carolina for 350 years. It's the same way we learned in Halifax County. We're cooking whole hog barbecue over open flames. It's the way it should be done.
But aside from the traditional cooking, the Pit may be one of the fanciest barbecue restaurants in the entire country, and it also has an active bar scene. North Carolina barbecue restaurants have traditionally been alcohol-free, although ironically the process of cooking barbecue on farms and at hunting camps has practically never been. On the one hand, the Pit has an exceptionally traditional menu of side dishes like collard greens and mac and cheese, while on the other, it also offers a wider variety of barbecued meats than is common at some of the older restaurants.
We're still a North Carolina restaurant. We celebrate all of North Carolina, from our veggies to the breads that we make to the desserts. And we believe in Eastern and in North Carolina style barbecue. So we have something for everybody. We have a little bit of brisket, we have a little bit of ribs, we have Eastern, Western. We're here for you.
For decades, North Carolina barbecue joints either cooked over live coals or used electric or gas cookers. Nowadays, wood smokers are common at many barbecue restaurants like Charlie's Barbecue and Grill in Clayton. Electricity or gas are used to heat wood, ranging in size from tiny chips to logs, to produce a cloud of smoke to swirl around the meat.
Try not to kill as many trees as some folks might do. And we use a cooker, a smoker, that will allow us to use both wood and use electrical current to fire the wood. We like to cook our barbecue low and slow. Like to keep it about 225 degrees, 12 hours. And then what we like to do at the end of the 12 hours is allow the meat to relax. And when it relaxes for about 2 hours, it just falls off the bone.
As some of the old hands point out, there is a difference between wood smoking and pit cooking.
A pit cooking is where we take the hardwood coals, we lay it under the meat. First you get the heat of the coals. Second, you get the drippings from the meat, come down onto the coals, make a smoke, and come back up. And that's the part you can't replace in all these other methods of cooking barbecue.
Like many of today's barbecue restaurants, Charlie's blurs the traditional line between Eastern flavored barbecue and what's found further to the west across the state.
The barbecue is different all over the state. I liked it all. A little Eastern North Carolina vinegar-based sauce compared to Lexington and the western part of North Carolina. A little sweet, a little red for the tomato base, a little sugar, a little honey. I tell you, Bob, we like to combine it all, kind of like a hybrid vehicle.
There are several barbecue chains in the state, nearly all serving a style of barbecue not native to North Carolina. But one chain, Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue, began with the flavor profile of Eastern-style vinegar sauce barbecue and built a wide chain of locations, but kept all of them in the very region of the state where that flavor profile originated. It's a rare concept, creating a regional chain serving regionally authentic food. And customers typically give Smithfield's high marks.
It is kind of unique. I have a multi-unit operation to serve something that's so unique to this region. We're Eastern North Carolina. It's very unique. And I think the key to our success is that every restaurant, all of our locations, make their own food on site, make their own barbecue, potato salad, coleslaw, from recipes from 40 years ago. Our first restaurant opened in 1964, and a lot of things have changed since then, but that's one thing that hasn't. Using fresh ingredients, and our menu hasn't changed in 40 years, and since 1964, we're not planning on changing it.
As technology advances and the pace of life increases, there seems to be a widespread desire to hold on to North Carolina's rich barbecue heritage. And even with the changes in cooking methods, decor, ambiance, and variety of meats at many of the state's barbecue restaurants, Tar Heels clearly still love their Q.